98.9 Northwest FM. This is CarTorque with Matty J. It's another Tuesday night. The time is now 7:04. We are talking cars as we usually do every Tuesday night. I'm joined by James and James. So we've got James from Established. What's up?
Hey, what's up?
And James from Man vs. Movies, who you just heard on the radio.
What's up?
Not much at all, guys. Not much. What's happening with you guys? Been busy?
Same old.
Flat out with uni, man.
Yeah, I have the feeling that I've just finished, so I'm out of there, bro. Yeah, you got a few more years. I got nothing, mate.
Yeah, like a year and a half. That's all right.
Yeah, well, it's good, man. Look, tonight we're going to talk a few things. We're going to be talking about Initial D, because Initial D was a big part of my childhood, and it's still a big part of my life today. And we're also going to talk about Mazda. Why, Mazda, are you leaving anything sporty? I mean, you've still got the MX-5, but you've destroyed the MPS series, and it's a big mistake, James. Like you've got an MPS.
Yeah, I got an MPS.
So, yeah, what's your take on it? Coming from a big Mazda fan.
It's pretty horrible. I mean, they have rumored an RX-9 with a
that's been rumored a long time
rotary. Yeah, it was rumored a long time ago, but apparently they just slipped a patent in for a new rotary motor. But I mean, like 4-cylinder turbo, like hot hatches style, there's nothing out there, and Kia's released this new Stinger,
yeah.
right? Which I don't think they don't come hatches, do they?
No,
it's a sedan.
Sedan, yeah, sports sedan.
Regardless, Hyundai is going to make something
N series,
soon.
N series, yeah. So
these two are just going to rival each other, and they're going to kill the platform.
What's happening? What we're seeing here is the rise of the Korean motoring industry.
100%.
Because like Koreans make good cars now. Like, the new Hyundais and Kias are great cars. Like you can't tell anyone that they're not, because
plus they've got a good warranty.
I mean, they back their cars 7 years, unlimited Ks. They want you to buy their cars, and they're priced at a reasonable price, and they're like, take them, and we're going to make performance cars because we can now.
100%.
Whereas Toyota and Mazda, Toyota in particular, which I'll get to in a bit, have just been like, well, we're like the biggest car companies in the world. We've got a ton load of money. We just sell a bazillion Camrys a day. We don't really need, to make cars for the enthusiasts.
The CEO in Japan, and he was questioned about bringing the MPS back. I think it was last year, and he goes, "We don't have room for something like it. We don't have room for performance cars in our like lineup because
SUVs?
It's childish."
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
He basically straight out said, "Oh, it's childish," and I think what makes car enthusiasts like get cars is because they can be childish when they're older.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, not childish as in like go do stupid stuff, but like someone wants to put their foot down and actually, get a smile because they can hear that.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, when you get old enough to start, making enough money to afford a car, you want to get something, a bit sporty.
Yeah.
You don't want to play it safe by, getting a, everyday family car.
Yeah.
The thing is though, like the MPS series, it wasn't that expensive. If you compare it to like the Golf, it's probably like less.
It's better value.
Yeah, it's like less than 15 grand retail from like when the Golfs came out new. They're like 50 something grand. But you're getting better performance, better value, and it's a Mazda. It's like out of Japan. Like there's no more, authenticness out there for performance, even in the hatch range.
And I just think that this is just a big mistake on their part, because Mazda have always had performance cars. Always have had them. From the 80s, they've always been been experimenting with turbos. We've had the RX-7, the RX-3s, anything rotary related. They've always had the Mazda 323 GTRs, GTXs.
Yeah, they got the Familiar.
The Familiars, yeah. They've had them. Later SP ranges, SP20s, MPS. You get some specials like the SC and the SP MX-5s.
Exactly. Very rare.
They've always kind of Mazda's whole thing was on driving pleasure. They've always driven well.
Yep.
They've always been nice cars to drive. They've always handled well. They're kind of like the enthusiast car for like the non-enthusiast, because they're really just a really good car, great cars to drive. They've got great dynamics,
relatively affordable, but like they can make anyone hop in the scene and feel like they're Michael Schumacher, because they had that they had really good dynamics, and
100%.
and they didn't always have the most powerful cars in the world, but they had cars that drove well and put a smile on your face. Now with abandoning this program,
Performance Series,
the Mazda Performance Series program, it's a kick in the nuts for not only for Mazda enthusiasts but for motor enthusiasts in general, and Mazda. They've kind of just followed Toyota in this footstep because Toyota's just kind of like said, we don't need performance cars anymore, and they haven't had a proper performance car in years.
Yeah,
they're coming back with the Supra, which is like a joint venture with BMW, but it
looks stupid, man.
I don't know. I'm not going to rate it.
Rumored electric too.
It's well, one of the models is going to be hybrid, so it's going to come in 3 specs: a 4-cylinder, a 6, and a hybrid, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I've read.
It's like putting a wing on a Prius.
Yes, pretty much. I mean, but look, I mean, we see some high performance hybrids now with the P1s and all that crap. But
the Spider.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a disappointment from a car company that's always had driving pleasure as one of their main things.
It's also like you have to have variety. Like you have your family cars, you have your sedans, whatever.
$1,000 in SUVs,
and then and then you have your sort of sports range.
Yeah,
and they're like getting rid of that, and it sounds like most other companies are starting to get rid of that too.
It's because I think that
so emissions have a big thing to do with it.
Well, not only that, James. One of the biggest factors is that the percentage of people that buy performance cars aren't great. And they said, well, how can we make more money by having just a car that can go to everyone and, who cares? And that's why Camrys, Corollas sell by the bucket load because they're cheap, reliable, affordable. They're easy to run, easy to maintain. They'll go forever. And they're simple, easy motoring. People know with a performance car, there comes performance car, maintenance with them. And they're a lot more money. So they're like, I'll be turned off that. But, I hate to say it, but I hate to bring Ford in this, but if Ford can do it, and Ford keeps doing it, like Ford's done it for years, but they've always had hot hatches, they've always had performance, they've always had V8s, they've always had a performance car in their range.
Yeah, it's just really like the RS, like that's killing it, man. And
it's got a waiting
seeing
list,
the enthusiasts, on the forums and whatnot, all the MPS guys, what can I buy now? They'll either go to like an RS or they'll buy like some other hot hatch.
A Golf R or something.
Like a Golf R, yeah. Maybe Evo, but still,
it's just...
It's shocking, to be honest. Like, Mazda just come out and said, no, we're not going to do it anymore, and the way that they just go, it's just childish. Like, it's a big turn-off for everyone.
It's like spitting at your fans. Like, it's like, all you people who like our sports range, you're all a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Like, F off.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if Mitsubishi's done it as well. So Mitsubishi's killed off the Evo program. They've announced there'll be no more Evos. The next Evo, if it's an Evo, will be an SUV. I mean,
stupid.
Anyway, so those 3 companies
refer to your last episode.
Refer to the last episode. Refer to my last rants. They're going to wonder why the Koreans are going to take it to them, and they're going to wonder why Koreans are going to outsell them very, very soon because they're not making cars. They're making electrical appliances. They're just like, do a job, and that's it.
Yeah.
We're going to get to our first break of the night. We'll come back to this, and we're going to come back to Initial D. Right after this break, we're going to play one of my all-time favorite songs. I was thinking because Mazda was Zoom Zoom, but this song's called Boom Shake. I can't even say it. That was the worst introduction to a song.
What? You had to match it up.
I had to match it in some way.
Zoom, zoom, boom.
But it's called Boom Shake the Room, The Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff. Obviously, it's a classic. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. This song gets everybody going.
I've still got the cassette somewhere.
I don't think I've ever been to a party where even the people that don't dance will get up and dance to this song because it's just it's the best. So we'll get to that and we'll be right back after this. You're back on 98.9 Northwest FM. This is CarTorque with Matty J. Still in the studio with James and James.
James Squared.
James Squared. We need Sam for James. Anyway, we'll move on. So yeah, back on Mazda and stuff. They really need to
pick up their game.
It's just because it's such a letdown because they've always been the one Japanese company that's always kind of had something, always been.
I think look, to be honest, I reckon they need some new blood and maybe in the CEO, bring someone young in that understands what everyone wants, someone that can still see the economic side of Mazda, but
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, James, the bean counters are what make everything run. And if the bean counters say, well, we're making crap, we're making nothing from MPS.
Yeah.
they're going to scrap it. But, you know,
I know. But the thing is, their motors, they still got them in the CX-7, man.
Yeah.
And they're still running them to this day.
Yeah.
They're good motors, direct injection.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a disappointment. And, you know, pretty much Subaru are still kind of offering something. They got in the form of WRX and the form of, you know, 86, even though I'm not a big fan of it. Or, you know, BRZ, I should say, for them. Toyota's like, oh, we've got a sporty car. We got the 86. Yeah, well, it's not that great. Like, it's not one of my favorite cars. Like, I like it. Don't get me wrong, but
probably needs like another 100 kilowatts just to be fun.
It needs a bit more power. It's severely underpowered. But everyone's like, oh, well, MX-5s are underpowered. Well, MX-5s are just in general have always they're a roadster. They're
underpowered, but they're tiny.
Supposed to be. Yeah.
They're tiny, and you know they don't have sound piping to hype it up.
No, so
they just go.
And I think, you know, Japanese car companies need to really get out of the slump they're in, because in the 80s they were dominating the game. Like they were so far ahead of everyone. Anyway, well, yeah, if the Europeans can still do it, like if companies like BMW, Audi, Mercedes, you know, Volkswagen. They always still offer performance cars on pretty much every version of what they sell.
And they're offering performance cars that cost like 3 times the amount.
And they're selling them.
And they're selling them. That's the thing.
So, you know, if they can do it, surely Japan, get your act into gear.
Yeah, bring out another GDR.
Yeah, pardon the pun.
You know.
Anyway, we'll move on. So, I was going to say Initial D. Now, Initial D for me...
Initial D.
Initial D's always been... well, back when... Okay, I'll start when I first saw Initial D. I was first saw Initial D when I was, you know, year 7. And basically, at the time, there was no real car show or car anything, you know that wasn't Top Gear.
Was it played on TV, or did you have to seek it out?
It was played on cable.
Okay.
So I watched the first seasons.
Because I'd never really watched the anime, I mean.
Yeah, the anime. So,
yeah, neither. I got, like, played after.
Well, initially it was originally just a manga in a
yeah, I read the book.
Yeah, book.
Well,
yeah.
Not only a book. It was just like a strip in a newspaper.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it started, and you know, and then it became obviously the manga, the anime, the live movie, and so basically the premise of the story is it's about Takumi Fujiwara, who is a tofu delivery boy, and he's at the age of, I think, 16 or 15. His father was making him do the
13.
13, that's right. Yeah, it was 13. It was making him do the delivery run of the tofu on Mount Arkin's Pass, because the roads were dead at 3 a.m. And you know, he learned to drive, and he eventually got better and quicker and quicker and quicker, and became like the ghost of Mount Arkina, because he was, you know, he became just crazy. He became the downhill expert pretty much. So basically, and the story goes on. You know, he raises people, and you know,
people want to race him because he's the best at the Mount Akina run.
Yeah,
because he's been doing it every night for 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
So everyone's like, we have to race the tofu delivery guy, but no one knows who he is.
They don't realize it's like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, we want to race the Bunta.
Yeah,
everyone thinks it's his father.
His dad is a race driver.
Yeah, well, the thing is, his dad was the original legend of the 86.
Yeah.
And but then, you know, his son comes in.
We should mention the 86. I don't think we mentioned
AE86.
It's the AE86.
Okay.
AE86. So it's the
they call
the
it the
86.
They call it the 86.
They call it the 86 because this is before
Hachiroku.
the Hachiroku.
Yeah, that's right.
Before the new 86, which is just like a big, you know, cash grab at the name, came into play. Because it's not. Let's be honest. It's not a Corolla based car, so it's not.
Doesn't even look like tofu.
Yeah, the worst I saw was like a guy had a new 86 and the play was like, I love tofu. I'm like, no, you don't love tofu because it is not an AE86.
Doesn't even have cup holders that like you can put water in.
Yeah. So yeah, basically it grew a whole phenomenon because like it was an anime for car lovers, and it grew a whole new audience. It attracted me because, you know, me being, you know, a car loving, you know, 13-year-old was just like, oh my god, this is like my story if I could ever drive.
And it's like brought the whole drifting thing probably into popularity.
That's what it did.
Yeah, it brought it to the Western world, basically.
Yeah,
it did. I mean, like drifting was kind of it's always been big in Japan, but like it was what Initial D is what really like opened it up to you know to America to everywhere else, and you know. it kind of personified the culture at the time, and it's still today to this day. It's initially people say, okay, they instantly think of the AE86, they think of the Red Suns RX7s. They know the basic story, and people can say, okay, Initial D was this because of, it was for me this because it was it helped me get into cars, helped me understand cars, and for so many people, that's how they got into cars.
I mean, it's like a lot of great action and drifting, but yeah, like you said, there's like a lot of technical information, and so people can learn about the drifting scene and the Japanese imports and the engines and all that kind of stuff.
And that's a big thing that's forgotten with Initial D, because they do talk so much about the technicalities, and like while in every anime, it's got love stories, it's got this, it's got that. It also had a wide range of different characters, and each had tons of different cars. It just didn't focus on the same GTR is the best car in the world. It didn't focus on that. It focused on it had Daihatsu Cappuccinos, it had bloody Altezas, had Skylines, had RX-7s, had MX-5s. It did go on for
ages, man. It had a pretty good variety.
And WRX's Evos.
Everyone had their clue. You could even have a Lady in there. So.
Yeah, it did.
Driven by McGill.
Was it not Midnight Blue? It was Midnight Blue, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, so it was really good. It had something for everyone in Initial D, and that's why the big part of its success was because people could relate to it, and people can get I had fun trying to drift once, and then they can remember an Initial D. So basically, it's kind of really personified car culture in a lot of ways. So it's personified the Japanese car culture. It really kind of breaks down what the grassroots of drifting is, which was in the mountains and the mountain passes of Japan.
Yeah.
It really, but the best part about Initial D though, it really outlines the type of people that drive certain cars. For example, Evo drivers are all classified as assholes in Initial D. Like
all-wheel drive.
They're all, I got all-wheel drive. I'm invincible. GDR drivers are considered rich, and I've got
money.
I got money,
and that automatically makes me able to drive.
Yep. It's still 86s are for junker people who can't afford anything, but they can drive. RX-7s are just they're pretty respected, and it's got something for everybody, and everyone can relate to it. So it's pretty good in that aspect. But yeah, it's also kind of ruined a lot of things for other people, because if you want to buy an AE86 these days, forget about it.
Well, I think it was 2 episodes ago we were talking about the cult cars, and we're talking about how the AE86 embodies the whole drifting culture and how it's become an iconic car.
Yeah.
And my dad's when I got home, my dad's what were you guys talking about on the radio? And I showed him the picture of the Initial D A86. He's like, oh, those were worth peanuts.
Yeah.
No one took those seriously. It's just a crappy Corolla.
That's what they were.
That's
what they are.
Yeah, but now after the show,
they went ham.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I wish I knew.
Yeah. Hey, everybody did. I was showing, funny story, you said that. I was showing my uncle, about 10 years ago, what the Initial D cars were, because I'm still today. Back then I was full into it. I was going to arcades and racing people all the time.
Yeah, the count where you get the card.
Oh, right? I had
three cars. That's how I'm into it.
Yeah.
I got you into it. Yeah.
Janina goes to me when we were younger. He just when he first got his license, we're gonna go out with Janina in the old laser.
In my old laser, my first laser, yeah. Red Rocket.
Yeah, we went out to Northlands, and we'd go there and play Initial D at the arcades.
Yeah,
and it was fun. And
100%.
And funny story about that.
Eurobeat. Lots of Eurobeat.
Oh, you're playing Eurobeat tonight. Eurobeat intensifies. The best part about it, I raced a lot of guys and predominantly Asian people. I'm not, it's just who the people that play
It's a popular game.
It's very popular. And I became good friends with a lot of them. I used to race, so that they made me an AE86 with the name Asian. And they're like, yeah, this is you. this should be you.
Honorary
Asian. And I was like, oh, I was touched. So it was really embarrassing, but good. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I was showing my uncle Initial D, and he's like, He's like, oh, those are those old sprinters. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he's like, we used to like strip them out and like, you know, and paddock bash them, and also we used to take them to they used to use them for stock car racing, you know, dirt track because they're real drive, you know, easy to thrash. He's like, how much are these worth now? I told him and he freaked out. He's like, oh my God, what have I done? I've like destroyed so many of these things. So yeah, Initiative's kind of made the tofu tax a legitimacy. But it's funny, it's like not with all the other cars that were featured on, just the AE86 because it was the hero car. I think, well, actually, you know what? Two-door STIs are worth a crap load of money, and
if you can find
one.
Apparently, there's like not like a ransom, but like there's like a $1 million reward if you could find the stolen two-door 22B. I think it is.
No,
I swear to God, I think it might have been posted in Broadmeadows, but
that makes sense.
Yeah. They're worth heaps.
In Japan,
like Pro Driver worth.
In Japan, are these cars like worth $1 billion, or is it just because
22Bs are worth a lot of money because 22Bs are super rare.
They're recognised like GTRs over there. They're like
they're above GTRs. Yeah.
But I mean, in general, like all the RX-7s and the GTRs, are they? If you were like our age, our income in Japan, I mean roughly match up.
Yeah, I mean. It's still like a lot of those cars, like for example GDRs and RX-7s, they're still quite expensive. Like they're expensive over there, and like Supras and stuff. They're expensive over there, but they're drug money here for us.
Here it's ridiculous.
In that aspect, we kind of really struggle, but still over there, like I mean, you got to remember that in Japan, like there's tons of these cars everywhere.
Yeah,
and they thrash the nuts off these things. Like a lot of the ones you see, like the import here, they're just hammered.
Yeah.
So
So even if you're spending a lot of money importing it, you're not going to get something.
Unless you get a really good one.
Like, good ones where you're going to pay like $500,000.
Yeah.
For some of this stuff,
Wasn't there an NUR that sold for like 250 grand? Or
but it had like 1,200 Ks. And something stupid.
Something just pointless. It's an NUR. Drive it, people. Anyway.
Like the guy gets it, he put a rod through the block because it hasn't moved in like 12
You're
years.
kidding.
No, I'm saying if he gets
it. I thought that happened. I'm like, oh my God, it's hilarious. Well, it wouldn't be hilarious for the guy that bought it, but anyway. But yeah, initially also it embodies a whole culture of Eurobeat. So for those of you who don't know what Eurobeat is, it's like real fast-paced techno.
Running in the
90s. Gas. Sorry, these are just terrible songs they play. The songs are crap, but they get you in the zone.
And then there's like cheesy
driving
lyrics.
Music, man. It's awesome.
It's awesome driving music, and I play like for example when I hit a mountain pass, it's like Eurobeat intensifies, turn the music up. Just think. I think of it as what's the name of the song? But it's like Sandstorm, but like 10 times better.
Yeah,
like not better, but
cheesier, like love song, almost like love song lyrics.
They are, but they're
like driving in the moonlight.
It's funny. It's become like a meme now. It's like Eurobeat intensifies. They have a picture of the Kumi driving, and it's just like you just see.
That's like high energy, like really fast paced.
Which like cruise sticker would you put on your car if you could get one?
Oh, the Nike Kids had a cool one. I remember
I reckon Nike Kids were cool.
Red Suns just reminds me of the Vale side. On the back of Dom's car.
Yeah.
So I'm like, every time I see Red Suns, I'm like, oh, that looks cool.
I should print some off and just put them on my car. For a while.
Just all of them.
If you go on the forum,
just all the different teams,
all around the car, different paddles. So every different team.
If you go on the forums, like they summarize, like the Red Suns apparently is a highly skilled team. All right.
Yeah.
The Night Kids were like the in-betweeners. And like
the Speedsters were a joke.
Let's see what they say about the Speedsters.
They were a joke.
It's a team made up of a bunch of friends who like to race in their leisure time.
Leisure time. Leisure time because they were terrible.
Genji.
But yeah, it's it's become it still is a sensation, no matter who you speak to, because initially it was just it is still so big. Like they made
they're still making them, right?
No, they officially finished it. It's officially done.
Because the anime started in 98.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
The manga obviously was earlier.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there was how many seasons? Or they call them stages?
Stages, yeah. I think there was five stages, yeah.
Yeah.
But like third stage was just like a movie.
Like a,
fourth stage was long. Fifth and final stage finished only a couple of years ago. So
okay.
Fourth stage was like 2 or 3 years ago, and the fifth stage was just like a reboot,
like a mini series.
It was kind of that, and then like it was the ending of the 86 pretty much. It was the ending of Takumi and his pretty much in a way retired the 86.
Yeah.
But
it's like Pokemon, man. There's no more Ash.
I mean, yeah, they'll probably bring it back with different characters. I'm surprised they haven't made a Hollywood movie. They made a Hong Kong live action,
which I was going to get to.
Which we'll talk about later.
Which is similar to Midnight R.
Yes.
Like that,
yeah.
But it was better than Midnight, because Midnight was a bit, how you going?
Dodgy.
It was a bit dodgy. They could have made it so much better. But look, we're going to get to a break. We're going to go to a Eurobeat song. This one wasn't featured on Initial D, but this is quite good for me because I saw it recently. The song is called Luna's Future. It's by Super Pony Beat. It's the Eurocast mix featuring Odyssey. So Odyssey's been pretty famous in a lot of Eurobeats. So there's a Super Pony Beat with Luna's Future. They've got the weirdest names.
It makes so much sense if you know what Eurobeat.
When you're about to listen to, you'll be like, "What the hell is this?" Stay tuned. We'll be playing it right after this. Melbourne, that's your first taste of Eurobeat. That is, you're back on CarTorque with Matty J.
We should start another show where we just play Eurobeat.
The Eurobeat hour. It's just high intensity, just constantly, just moving.
Yeah, but it has to be like Friday night, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it has to be late one night.
When you're on the pingers and it's just
Saturday night.
It's got to be a session where we can't be here. We just put a track on, like the 1 hour mix, and then we go driving. We go driving through the hills.
Just go for a night run. We'll get back to Initial D, because for me, this Initial D was like something that I had. And religiously every Saturday when I was like 14, 15, I was at the arcades racing and having fun. And it's like kind of my it was like my first venture into street racing, I guess you could say, because even though you're not really street racing, it was like kind of you feeling the experience with Initial D. You kind of felt the thrill, the rush, like, and the anime and manga really emphasize that. And a lot of aspects you'd be on the edge of your seat, even though it's a cartoon. So yeah, really, for me, Initial D was, it changed my whole world on cars as well, because it opened up a whole new world of cars for me, especially being at 12 and 13, seeing Japanese cars, because like at that time I was seeing like muscle cars, exotics, and I was seeing these like A86 crap boxes, Toyotas beating bloody MX, but beating GTRs and Supras and what have you. I don't think it rates a Supra, but whatever. It was flogging everything. It was just stupidly crazy for like a $20 car. But it was the fact.
Bucks.
Oh yeah, well, they were giving them away, James. Actually, there's an old man who drives a really clean 11. It's local grandpa spec. Yeah, like it's in a blue. And I'm like, he's in Apple West. And every time I see him, I'm like, fire! I'm gonna pull over and say, I'll give you. How much do you want? I'll buy it. But for sure he's had offers because like they're super rare and this thing's immaculate. Like
I don't think I've.
It's probably a hardcore Initial D fan, man.
Oh yeah, he's like a 100-year-old bloke. He's
Punta.
He's Punta. He's Punta's dad. But yeah,
probably vinyl wrap blue. Just got the tofu underneath.
Dude, it's that car is straight out of the 80s. It was like it's immaculate. This car, it's a timepiece. So I'm just like, fire. If I was to buy it, I'd drop a 4AG in it real quick. But yeah, it was like the underdog story, and that's what every person can relate to an underdog story.
What's interesting about Takumi, who drives the A86, is like
the Hachi.
He doesn't really care about racing.
Yeah,
it's like he's just over time he's developed the talent, the skill, and then but everyone wants to race him because he's so good.
Yeah.
and then it becomes like, you know, him trying to.
I just love in the episodes like what James is saying. Basically,
he starts off not wanting to do it. He's like, why am I even here?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he'll do it and then he'll just drive home after. He doesn't stop to like.
Everyone's celebrating, or like
keeps driving down the mountain. I'm going home now.
To him, it's not a race. It's his normal delivery run. Yeah. So everyone's like trying really hard to beat him, and he's just going down the.
He's got one arm on the door, and just. Anyway, well, it spawned a live action film, which was I liked it. I really thought it was good.
It's weird because it's a Hong Kong film, and it was shot with Chinese actors in Cantonese, but it was filmed in Japan, and they play the same Japanese characters. I don't know why Japan didn't make a live action version, because they make heaps of live action anime adaptations. So I don't know, the Hong Kong company got there first, I guess.
Now in the live film, right, when they drop the 4AG in, why does his dad tell him to watch the rev, like watch the tack at 9,000?
Because that's from 9 to 10, 9 to 11 is when its power band comes in. That's because it was a high revving engine. Right. So that's he told him to basically watch it from 9, and then you feel the impact that the extra 2,000 2 to 3,000 revs have. So that was the whole premise on that engine. It's super high rev, the one he dropped in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really good.
It's a good movie. It's like, it's a bit cheesy and dated, but like the drifting scenes and the race scenes are really, really good.
They're better than
it's way better than Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
And like, I think all it's got a lot of really great cast. Jay Chow plays Takumi, who's like a Cantonese pop star.
I love that.
How good is it?
It's so good.
And he's just so like awkward and nerdy.
But that's how Takumi is.
Yeah, but it's like perfect because he doesn't care. He doesn't know anything about racing or cars. He's just really good at driving.
I'm just a pop star. I don't do anything.
He wrote some music for the film.
He did. He did. Yeah.
The end track is definitely him and a few others.
But my favorite actor in that whole film is Anthony Wong.
Anthony Wong, he's so good.
Yeah, he plays Punta. Yeah. He's a pisser.
He's like always got his eyes closed. He's got a cigarette hanging out his mouth. He's drunk. The whole film.
It's how Bunter is in the actual show. His eyes are closed, cigarette in the mouth, 24/7. He was a chain smoking tofu man.
It's just the funniest part is like what's the fat kid's name?
Itsuki?
Itsuki, yeah.
Oh man, he's so good in the movie.
Itsuki.
Wait, what's the actor? I'm gonna look.
Their dads.
Chapman Toe plays Itsuki in the movie.
So Itsuki's dad and Takumi's dad, they're friends. Like they're both friends. The service station owner and
they used to be racers in the 80s.
Yeah, it's like they used to be the it.
Yeah, and now
they're commenting about like all of their kids racing and stuff.
Yeah,
the good times.
Yeah, and now their kids are going out street racing and and they're like and everyone thinks it's Bunta racing down the hill because everyone's like, oh, he used to be the best racer. And he's like, no, it's Takumi. He's been driving for me since for 5 years.
You crazy?
And everyone's like, what?
Yeah. Are you insane? Oh, it's so good. But okay, like the movie and the actual show, like the actual anime and manga,
they're pretty close. Like it's not a huge.
There's not a huge, but like there's a lot of character differences.
Yeah.
But it's pretty damn close to how it was. Like as good as they could make it.
Yeah.
And I watch it all the time. I have so much fun watching it.
It's a lot of fun. It's very funny, but it's also kind of dark in a lot of ways.
Like in the actual show, I mean Natsuki,
his girlfriend.
His girlfriend's
his girlfriend
is
that one.
Pretty much is. Yeah,
you find something out about her at the end that in like a normal Hollywood movie would send people like into like a frenzy. Like all these religious groups would have been like, wait, what?
She gets into Mercs with strange people
for money.
It's not me. I swear to God, it's not my Merc. Oh, jeez.
I guess it's from the manga and then the anime.
It's what happens.
And so they put it in the movie.
Now we know why he's driving a Merc.
Oh, Beanie, it's not what you think. I swear to God.
Picking up Japanese schoolgirls.
Dude, we're so gonna have the bloody with the protection agency here coming. Where are they, man? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, jeez. so good. But look, it's
But I think like it's about the racing and the cars are really cool.
They are, yeah.
Obviously the AE86 looks so nice in real life.
Yeah.
But also like the GTR
32, yeah.
And is it the RX-7, the white one?
Yes, yeah, the FC. Yeah, that's correct. That's Ryosuke.
Yeah,
Ryosuke's car. Yeah, so that was pretty cool as well. I found like I was watching how they were like before they were making that movie.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about like doing the cars for the movie, and they're like, the one car we had the most problems with was the A86 because by this time the A86 was like a really really old car.
Yeah, I wrote it down here. It said 3 new Toyota AE86 Sprinter Truenos, a car out of production since 1987, were especially built by Toyota for the film.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It was insane, and they had to make it. They had to like upgrade it with better springs and better diffs and stuff just to make it drift the way they wanted to. Yeah. And they were actually doing it. Like there's no...
Yeah, it's all real drifting. Real drifting. It looks really nice. It's so cool. James, before you were talking about how there's a bit where he's like trying to race and he like...
Into the gutter?
He goes on the inside. He overtakes a guy by like steering using the gutter, like just curving around. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And there's one shot that I saw it and I'm like, I have to mention this, is where they drift around a corner really quickly. And the camera's just kind of sitting in the grass, and the grass is in front of the camera, and you see the cars like drift past, and then there's like a couple of seconds, and then the grass sways like the wind. It's so cool.
It's a good
like
shot.
That shot beats all of Tokyo Drift. Like it's just so cool. The racing's all really well shot. It's really cool.
There's some have to do it.
There's some really
Han lives.
There's some really bad like CGI crashes. I guess they didn't have the budget to roll cars or
destroy Evos.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, all the racing's real and so well done.
And it makes such a difference. Like
once they go with the dreads.
The dreads, yeah. They were calling Itsuki's like, "Oh, you guys are gay," because like they're always together. It was so funny. Like the funny parts were just like the one line. It was so good.
Oh man, the bit where Takumi takes Itsuki's car for the drive for drifting down the mountain for the first time, and Itsuki's like throwing up for 2 days straight. And there's just a scene. There's just a scene with Itsuki like holding a garbage bin in front of him, going, ugh. And it just keeps going, and he's just throwing up.
He can't stop.
And then in the outtakes, you can see on the DVD, he just keeps doing it for like 3 minutes straight. And there's a point where he just like looks at the camera and he's to the director. He's like, "You said call cut." It's like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's so funny. He's just like, he's like throwing up.
Oh, it was so good. So good. It's so good. The first bit when he gets out of the car.
Yeah.
He's
and
like,
he just falls down.
He falls down. He
throws up.
He's like, "You bastard." He's just throwing up. Oh, it was so good. It was a really good film.
I also like how they do. I mean, a lot of this is taken from the manga and the anime, but they translate it well on screen. But like the footwork when you tap the brake,
the heel towing and stuff.
But you keep your heel on the throttle.
Heel toe braking.
Like that stuff's really cool.
The camera shots were great.
Yeah, the cinematography is really good, and the editing, like the pace is really. You can always tell like who's who, where's.
It wasn't choppy. You could see what was going on. And really well done.
And I love how the AE86 has the yellow lights. So it looks like a demon or something like coming down the mountain.
The Ghost of Mount Akina, man.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's what it was. Look, we got to go to our.
Loved it, didn't you?
I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
It's like I love Hong Kong movies in general, but it's like it's such a fun like movie. It's kind of silly too, but it's like really.
It's the point of it, really.
Yeah.
It's cool.
We're gonna go to our last song of the night because we're gonna get back to quickly smash out the quiz. So the song's called "Crazy on Emotion" by Ace, who's done a few other Initial D songs. This song does feature an Initial D. So this is "Crazy on Emotion" with Ace. You're back on 98.9 Northwest FM. We'll actually get to the quiz first.
Matty, one thing, if I don't mention it, I'm going to kick myself. Yeah. There's a bit where in the Initial D movie, they're going down the mountain, and the brakes like start glowing because they're so hot.
Yeah.
So every time they're like put on the brakes gun, then
they do a brake shot.
The shots of the brakes through the rims like glowing. It's so cool. Yeah, the movie's so good.
It's so good.
I love it so much. If you were my dad, I'd kick your ass. I want the GTR. I want the GTR.
I'll buy you a Mercedes. I want a GTR.
I'll buy a Rolex. I want the GTR. Sorry, go.
So good.
So good.
So good.
I want a loan.
Did you do the last quiz? I'm not sure who did the last quiz.
Maybe Grasso.
Who was here?
I can't remember. Anyway. All right. Well, I don't know if I did this one because I already just want to for last week, but we didn't do the quiz last week.
I don't think we did. I think only I was here, and I never did the quiz.
Okay.
I'll get 0.
Unless
it's about initial D, the movie specifically.
You get the whole thing.
Not about the
I
technical
reckon
cars.
this one's got initial D in it.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about the car, like the technical aspects of the cars.
We're going to get quickly into it. We're running out of time, so this is the CarTorque car quiz.
You should play Eurobeat instead of your normal dramatic music.
Question 1: Mighty Car Mods used an old Toyota for the latest show. What was it called?
Cresta.
It was. What engine did they use in it? It's a hard question, this one.
Don't look at me.
Barra.
They used the Barra, that's correct. Question 3: The Toyota Aristo had what type of engine in it?
It was a 2JZ twin turbo.
2JZ twin turbo. True or false? The 4-litre TX3 came as a 2-door only.
The TX3?
Yes,
Yeah, it's true.
it is true.
Killing it.
Dude, have we done this one?
No.
No, you're smiling. You haven't.
No, I promise. I haven't done this one. The Mighty Car Mods episode came out last week, bro.
True or false? Are any Mercedes-Benz today sold with a manual?
No overseas you can get a manual, but it's not. I mean, Vitos come out manual, don't they? Yeah, we'll go yes.
It's true.
Overseas taxis, Mercedes are all manual.
Question 6: Nissan SR20s are commonly found in S chassis cars. What other cars did it come in?
GTIR?
Yep, Pulsar. I'll take that. Question 7: True or false? Mazda RX-7s only ever had pop-up headlights.
Yes.
That's true.
I had to think about that one.
Question 8: Holden is committed to using what engine in their next year's V8 supercar?
What engine? A rotor?
Yeah, what engine is Holden going to use next year for their V8 supercar? Well, for their supercar because it's not called V8 supercars anymore.
Which engine Holden was going to use?
Yes, yep, for the new one.
So I'll see if it.
Question 9: Takata has been in the news recently for what reasons?
Takata?
Yeah, Takata.
What do they do?
They are a part supplier of many sorts.
Was this the airbag thing?
It is the airbags, let's play that. Question 10: Jeremy Clarkson said that after driving the Lexus LFA, it was the what?
The best guy's driven?
Best car he's ever driven, yeah. You got 9, James, so far.
Yeah,
No.
This question's killing me.
Holden has committed to using. Oh, so what? Holden is using. Is going to use what engine next year for their supercar?
Is it turbocharged?
I can't give you an answer. It's either yes or no. I'm not telling you the answer, James.
I'm just gonna say LS, some gen motor.
Nah, it's just the Holden V8. So, but it's not
What's a Holden V8?
It's not an LS motor.
What?
Yeah, it's not.
What's a Holden V8? It's not an LS motor.
It's the old 5-liter iron block.
That's stupid.
That is 9 out of 10. That
was pretty good.
That is pretty good. I think that's equal to. Actually, no, that has equaled our best score.
And you didn't get any help.
Yeah, you didn't.
Usually people are like, oh, give me a hint. Oh, can someone help me?
Yeah, no lifelines.
I'm no help.
Well, look, we're
Holden has failed me.
Dude, you were almost there.
Next week.
Next week. There's always next week. You can come back on next week and get your 10. Look, we're going to go out on the Ace Crazy on Emotion because we didn't get to play it. We're going to play that now. Thanks again, guys, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And obviously, give your page a like, James.
Man vs. Movies every Tuesday, 6 p.m.
What's next week's episode?
I don't know. I'll see. Like and share the Man vs. Movies Facebook page and subscribe, rate and review on iTunes.
Same thing with me. Like our Facebook page, it's CarTorque, TORQE with Matty J. We've also got our if you missed any of our episodes, we're on Shout Engine, so go to Shout Engine for our podcasts, and we're on iTunes as well. So we're out of time. This is Ace with Crazy in Emotion. You're listening to CarTorque with Matty J. Keep it locked here on 98.9 Northwest FM. In the meantime, take it easy.